recording the class now. Today we have to finish. So you're gonna be the first group that is going to finish this topic about the Kush and Aksum. Okay. Now let's see. And also I have another video for you guys. Let me see. This one. So we finished here, guys. We finished here. Yesterday we finished the last class. We were talking about these people. Remember the Kush? They fought against the Egyptian and they control their destiny once again. It says, after Kashta, remember Kashta died? His son, Pianki, that sounds like Chinese, but no, that's an African name. Pianki continued to attack Egypt. The armies of Kush captured many cities, including Egypt's ancient capitals. Pianki fought the Egyptian because he believed that the gods wanted him to rule all Egypt. Según él, dice que los dioses pedían que él fuese el que reinase todo Egipto. Okay, guys, let's move on. See the next slides. Okay. Here. Now the Kushite dynasty, la dinastía Kushite o de los Kush. After Pianki died, después que murió Pianki, el que vimos hace un momento, o sea, este Pianki, after he died, his brother Shabaka took control of the kingdom. Shabaka then declared himself pharaohs. Ellos eran reyes, ahora se convirtieron en faraones. This declaration began the 25th dynasty, la 25ª dinastía, or Kushite dynasty in Egypt, en Egipto. They tried to restore all Egyptian culture, practice, and renew faded traditions. Some of these practices and traditions had been abandoned during Egyptian period weakness. For example, Shabaka was buried in a pyramid, imagínense. And the Egyptians had stopped building pyramids. Ya no había, los egipcios ya no construían las pirámides for the rulers centuries before. Now, estos son unos ejemplos de, mira lo que dice aquí las ruinas. Dice que the ruins of ancient Kushite pyramids stand behind those reconstructed to look the way they did originally. Originalmente era así y mire con el pasar del tiempo cómo quedaron. Las pirámides que están atrás. Originalmente, así eran originalmente, y ya con el pasar de los tiempos, como se ve ahí atrás, están, se habían casi deshecho. Now, the end of the Kushite rule in Egypt, el final de ellos. In the 670s BC, a powerful army of Assyrians from Mesopotamia, ahí vienen los mesopotamios, que están, mira, aquí están los caballos, venían así y dominaron a ellos. Mesopotamia invade Egypt. The Assyrians' iron weapons were better than the Kushite bronze weapons. Although the Kushite were skilled archers, they could not stop the invader. The Kushite were pushed southward, o sea que lo replegaron hacia el sur, hacia más al centro de África. The Kushite were pushed southward. In just 10 years, the Assyrians had driven the Kushite force completely out of Egypt. Lo sacaron completamente en 10 años, lo sacaron de Egipto. The main idea that the later Kush became a trading power with unique culture, later Kush. After they lost control of Egypt, the people Kush devoted themselves to agriculture and trade, hoping to make their country rich once again. Within a few centuries, the Nubia kingdom of Kush had indeed become prosperous and powerful once more. The expansion of trade. Acuérdense que hacían muchos trade porque al inicio lo hacían con los egipcios, ¿se acuerdan? Intercambiaban muchas cosas. In time, Meroe became the center of the large trade network. The Kushites sent goods down the Nile to Egypt. Kush export including gold, pottery, iron tools, slaves, and ivory. Now, merchants and traders. Although trade was important to Egypt, only a small group of Egyptians became merchants and traders. Some travelers along the distance to buy and sell goods. Merchants were usually accompanied by soldiers, scribes, and laborers on their travels. In return, the Kushites received imports such as luxury items, inventions from Egypt, Asia, and other lands along the Mediterranean. Now, let's talk about the culture of Kushites. The people of Kushite combine customs from other cultures in their own unique Kushite culture. Now, the most obvious influence of Kushite culture and religious tradition was Egypt, porque ellos fueron parte de Egipto. Egipto ejerció mucha influencia en ellos. Many buildings in Murid, special temples, resemble those in Egypt. Se parecían mucho a lo que estaba en Egypt. Many elements Kushite culture were not borrowed. Kushite house and daily life were unique. Once Greek geographer notes some Kushite differences. The Kushites also developed their own written language. Meroitic stone carving were made to commemorate important buildings and events just like Egypt. New discoveries, archaeologists have uncovered evidence that helps us understand Kushite society. They study artifacts and that people have made or used to improve more complete picture Kushite society. The women, okay, let's talk about this one. Women in Kushite society. The women of Kushite were expected to be active in their society. Tenían que ser muy activas las mujeres. They work in the field, raise children, cook, and perform other house's tasks. A few women ruled empire alone. Historians believe that the first woman to rule Kush was Queen Shanakaketo. Queen Shanakaketo. She ruled from 170 BC to 150 BC. Like 20, eso es como 20 años, yeah? 20 years. She ruled 20. And now this is the woman. This is the woman, Queen Shanakaketu. Historians believe that Queen Shanakaketu was the first woman to rule Kush. But because we can understand Meroitic's writing, que es como lo que ellos escribían, we know very little about Queen Shanakaketu. Most of what we know about her comes from carving found in her tombs. One of the largest pyramids or Meroe, es un sitio. Based on this carving, many historians think she probably gained power after her father. O sea, que ella era la hija de su padre, ella fue la hija de su padre, que era algún tipo de rey en aquel entonces. Ok. Ajá. Ok, después vinieron, después ella cayó. Aksum, decline, Kush, ahí vinieron aquí. Ok. Kush was also weakened, but also loose on trade. Foreign merchants set up new trade routes and went around the Kush. One such trade route bypassed Kush in favor of Aksum. Aquí vienen los Aksum. One of the beliefs brought to Aksum by trader was Christianity. Christianity teaching quickly took hold in Aksum. Aksum es el sitio. Let me see. In the late, a los finales de 300 before Christ, Aksum's most famous ruler, King Esana, made the Christianity the kingdom's official religion. Although Aksum itself was never conquered, nunca fue conquistada Aksum, este Esana, este es el rey Esana. Its major ports were taken by other people. As a result, the kingdom became isolated from other lands. Now, I have another video now. This is the last video that concludes this topic about the Kush and Aksum. And I want to show you right now. Let's see what happened. Here it is.
it must be remembered that as we see it today, we're seeing it in the context of desert. But the Kushites had a national system of reservoirs crisscrossing their country. And essentially, all of this would have been green. And we need to see it in that kind of context. Not as the desert as it is now, but as a brilliant attempt of Africans early on to, if you like, counter the encroaching desert with their national system of reservoirs.
When you add together all of the Great Basins, you get two things. One, you can calculate the amount of manpower and womanpower that was needed to move all of that earth. It's equivalent to building a pyramid. It's literally equivalent to building the Great Pyramid. It's an incredible state enterprise.
Some of the ornamentation decorating the structures are quite interesting because some of the animals depicted, such as elephants and cows.
The Africans of the Nile Valley were famous for domesticating animals. It has been said that they lived in harmony with the natural world and that even the big cats would walk side by side with them.
Three of the most important Neteru in Kemet were Asar, Aset, and Heru.
Or to give them the more usual names, Osiris, Isis, and Horus. These three deities originally came from Kush.
These are very, very important triumvirate.
Their stories are as much mythology as they are history.
Now, according to Diodorus Siculus, who was one of the ancient Greek historians, Osiris was originally a community leader of very early Kush. He doesn't call him a king of Kush, but he makes it quite clear he was a leader.
Asar is regarded as the founding father of Kemet. He unified the two lands. He established the first nation-state in the recorded history of humanity. He is said to have introduced writing, the writing which the ancient Kemites referred to as Medu Neter, or the writing of God when it was written, or the words of God when it was spoken. He is also said to have introduced agriculture and theology.
Also decided to take civilization to certain parts of the Nile Valley as well as to other parts of the world.
Asar married a beautiful Nubian woman by the name of Aset, who was his co-regent, not his inferior, his co-regent. And when Asar decided that he was going to travel to other parts of Africa to share his technology with his brothers and sisters on the continent, he left his wife Aset to run their nation.
And he was very successful, very admired, and this provoked the jealousy of his brother, Set.
And Set then plotted to overthrow his brother Asar.
Set, or Sete, in the ancient Egyptians, murdered his brother, dismembered his body into 14 pieces, and then scattered those 14 pieces throughout Kemet.
When Aset learned of the murder and dismemberment of her husband, she fled for her life, and then she went searching for the missing parts of her husband's body. Aset found 13 of the 14 parts of Asar's body, and as she found each body part, she cleaned it, she anointed it with oils, and she laid all 13 parts out, and she literally remembered her husband, wrapped his entire body in bandages, and created the first mummy in the recorded history of humanity. As Aset was preparing to bury her husband, she grieved because she was about to bury the man that she loved. She grieved because she was still a virgin. They had never consummated their marriage. And thus, she would never bear children by the man that she loved. And according to the story written on many papyri in Kemet, carved on several temples in Kemet, the spirit of Asar came and impregnated his virgin wife Aset. And then 9 months later, the virgin Aset gave birth to their son Heru.
Now, in the case of Isis or Set, she is the original Virgin Mother, and she is seen suckling Horus. He is shown as a child suckling his mother, and he's wearing the pharaonic headdress, making it clear that he was born a king.
Haru is the son of Osiris, and he's the embodiment of order. He has to take over the kingship, and he has to do that through a struggle.
So Heru was born, the son of a virgin. He was born with a specific purpose in life. That was to restore his father's kingdom, to do battle with his uncle Set and reclaim his father's throne.
Heru would then take up his father's struggle, in a way, against his uncle Seth.
One of those classic battles, not so much between good and evil, it's more a battle between order and anarchy.
And Heru eventually triumphs over Set.
At that moment, Heru was miraculously transformed into a falcon. He flew into heaven to meet with his father Asar, told Asar of his victory over Set. His father blessed him, and Heru then returned to Kemet as the legitimate heir to the throne. And when he ascended to the throne, the symbol of the Heru Badet, the winged sun disk, was a symbol that was carved above the entrance of every temple in Kemet to serve as a reminder of Heru fulfilling the reasons for which he was born. And at the moment Heru reclaimed his father's throne and was crowned the king of Kemet, his father Asar was resurrected from the dead and took his place on the throne of judgment.
Okay, guys, with this video, we conclude the chapter about the Kush and the Aksum. Okay, now remember, guys, you need to complete the vocabularies. Okay, vocabularies and the assessment. So this is the 5th topic we have studied, guys. So it means that you should have in your notebook 5 vocabularies and 5 assessment, guys. Okay, and remember, I could ask it for it next week or in 2 weeks or tomorrow. Okay, so you better be working on those vocabulary and assessment. Guys, did you hear me, guys? Do you hear me? Okay, then that way we won't have any trouble. Okay, guys. So we don't have time. It's 10:43. Let's finish the class